So the Australian Coral Reef Society as a body really represents all of the diverse research that is undertaken relevant to reefs throughout Australia, whether that is through research institutes or NGOs, and even the industries themselves with the stakeholders on the reef. So the role of the Australian Coral Reef Society is more critical than ever. The society is 100 years old, but it is now having to steward our reefs through a period of real uncertainty.
The 1990s really marked a turning point in the focus of Australian coral reef scientists. So there was a global mass coral bleaching event after 12 months of sustained warm waters in 1998. And following up from that, in 2002, there was the Townsville Declaration on Coral Reef Research and Management, which really sort of moved the focus of Australian coral reef scientists towards climate change, but also more broadly to threats such as crown of thorns starfish and water quality on Australian coral reefs.
Science is clear that human-induced climate change is real. And the problem arises when climate change causes the ocean temperatures to warm either too quickly or too much. And so this can lead to something called coral bleaching. Coral bleaching is the breakdown between the association of the little microscopic algae that live inside of corals and the coral animal. So on the east coast, where we have the Great Barrier Reef, we're seeing signs of the 4th mass bleaching event in only 6 years. And at the same time, we're getting reports that on the west coast of Australia, there's coral bleaching going on in places like Ningaloo Reef, which is also a World Heritage Site in conjunction with the Great Barrier Reef. Marine researchers are trying to understand how coral reefs are changing now and how they could change into the future. Trying to understand how species distributions, for example, are moving. Are corals moving further down south? Are corals on the west coast of Australia going extinct? These are the kind of fundamental questions that researchers are looking at.
Our reef science has changed dramatically in the last 5 to 10 years as a result of accelerating degradation of coral reefs.
Australian coral reef scientists started testing novel approaches to restoration, both in laboratories and out in the wild. So things like growing corals from fragments on reefs, also looking at doing things like collecting wild slicks of coral spawn off the top of the ocean and using them to seed other reefs, and also assisting natural processes of coral evolution.
They're also trying to understand what is the base level of adaptation potential in these populations naturally. So corals oftentimes experience quite large temperature fluctuations on a daily and yearly cycle. So there's probably some underlying intrinsic ability to withstand high temperatures, at least to a certain degree.
We have an incredible responsibility to ensure that the research and the science that is conducted is really directed towards ensuring we have reefs into the future.
Anybody who has any sort of relationship with Australia's coral reefs is invited to be a member of the Australian Coral Reef Society.